Hi, everyone. It's Carol here, the founder of the Sleep Success Academy, and I'm coming to you today from the great outdoors. I'm just sitting out on my deck, trying to orient to this beautiful nature and at the same time do some work. Isn't it amazing when we can combine the two together? So anyway, what I wanted to talk about in today's video is about spending less time in bed. So many people, when we struggle with sleep, we try to stay in bed longer, wishing desperately for more sleep. I know I've been there. A lot of my clients are there. And we do this really believing that if we spend more time in bed, that we would get more sleep, which makes sense. However, it actually works backwards. So if we want to spend less time in bed and be able to improve the quality of our sleep. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk about in today's video. And I'm going to give you some tips on what to do and what I believe works, what's worked for me, what is working for some of my members in the Better Sleep community, and what I've seen happen and all the research that I do on sleep. So stick around for the video so that you can get some tips. But what I wanted to tell you also is that we are going to be talking about the third components to better sleep. You'll hear me talk often and say there are three components to better sleep we have to look at in order to improve the quality of our sleep. We look at our emotional well-being, we look at our mindset, and our behavior. So today we're actually going to focus on behavior. If you want to learn more about the three components to better sleep, go to my website, sleepsuccessacademy.com. I have a free resource tab, and I actually have a call that I did that talks about the three key ingredients to better sleep. In this video, I've changed it to key ingredients instead of components because I was also making reference to if you were making a chocolate cake, you would need all the ingredients for the perfect chocolate cake. So that's where ingredient comes in. But at the same time, we need these three ingredients in our sleep in order to get better sleep. So today we're going to focus a little bit more on the behavior one, which is spending less time in bed. And so I've had people also ask me, Carol, do you practice sleep restriction with your clients? And I'm going to say no. Specifically, sleep restriction, as we name it in CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. I do not believe in that type of sleep restriction. This is my opinion, and it does work for some people if really what is causing your sleep issues is the fact that you don't have proper sleep hygiene, then yes, sleep restriction might help you if the hours that you're restricted is between 6 and 7.5. I've heard horror stories where people are restricted to like 4 hours to be able to sleep. So they're pushing themselves, they're staying awake, even though their sleep drive is built and they're sleepy. They're staying awake because they can't go to bed till midnight, and then they're supposed to get out of bed at like 4 or 5 in the morning to restrict the time in bed, hoping to build the sleep drive to go back to sleep the next night, which makes sense logically, but it doesn't when you're someone who has struggled with sleep. When you're someone who has struggled with sleep, forcing yourself past being tired or sleepy actually creates limiting beliefs, which is the second component to better sleep. We're so tired. What if I don't go to sleep tonight? I've tried everything, nothing is working. This is not working as well. So all the mind stuff comes in, and then it brings in the emotional well-being, which is sadness, desperation for sleep, sadness. When I say sadness, what came to me was sad that I'm not able to sleep, sad that I won't be able to spend time with my family tomorrow because I'm tired, all this stuff. So sleep restriction might work if the emotional well-being and the mindset component doesn't come in. And again, my belief, and I know I'm not the only one who believes this because I've read it in different books from different sleep coaches or different people who've written books on sleep, that between 6 and 7.5 is what we should aim for. But as Colin Epsy wrote in his 5 principles of good sleep health, we also have to personalize our sleep to our needs. In saying that, how can I start personalizing my sleep without spending too much time in bed? And so two things in my mind that you have to look at is, are you going to bed early trying to catch up on sleep? And am I going to bed when I'm not sleepy yet? I might be tired, but I'm not sleepy. Some people never reach that sleepy feeling, or they say they don't reach that sleepy feeling. And I would agree that that's happening because their nervous system is too hyped up. So they're in this hyper arousal state. So it's hard to reach sleepy in that state. But if you are winding down in the evening, if you learn how to tap through all the feelings, all this, and you learn how to calm your nervous system, which is what I teach in the Better Sleep community, how to really calm down your nervous system. When nighttime comes, you get sleepy because your nervous system is not as hyper aware as it was before. And in saying that, so then we go to bed when we're sleepy. We don't go to bed early, and we try to be as consistent as we can with that sleep window or that time frame that we're allowing our body to sleep. Again, not less than 6 hours, but between 6 and 7.5. And I always pick my times by hour-and-a-half increments. And I do that because our sleep cycle, so most people, the sleep cycle is roughly 90 minutes. And a sleep cycle is just like when you fall asleep to go through all the sleep stages, and then you kind of wake up a little bit to get into the second sleep cycle. And then you wake up a little bit. And then, so 3 sleep cycles would be like 4.5 hours. 4 sleep cycles would be like 6 hours, roughly. And then 5 sleep cycle would be your 7.5. That is recommended for most people. Then if you did an extra sleep cycle, you would sleep roughly 9 hours. We never want to go below 4 sleep cycles. So people get frustrated too when they wake up through the night because they're like, oh, now my sleep is all messed up, because we have this belief, this mindset that sleep is supposed to be one block of sleep without waking up. And that happens a lot of nights. We're still waking up though. We just don't know it because it's so minute, it's so little, and we still wake up. What happens when we struggle with sleep, when that wake up happens, then our mindset kicks in, our emotion kicks in. I'm frustrated, I'm fearful, I won't be able to sleep. The sleep anxiety kicks in, and that kind of is what keeps us awake. So again, in the Better Sleep community, we talk about how to deal with the middle of the night awakenings. But if I only go to bed when I'm sleepy, and I personalize my sleep to say 6 or 7.5 hours of sleep, I go to bed at 9, I wake up at 5. That's just what I do. I love being up early in the morning. So does my husband. So say you go to bed at 10, then you wake up at 6. That's 8 hours. I'm always saying 8 hours, but then you might only want to do 7.5, because technically I say 9 to 5, but it might be like 9:15 or 9:20 before I fall asleep. And I always wake up a tiny bit before my alarm. Knowing that, then that's roughly my 7.5 hours that I get, but I'm giving myself 8 hours in bed. So I always suggest start with an 8 hour window. And so go to bed when you're sleepy. What's 8 hours later? And then when it's time to get out of bed in the morning, like no more than 8. You might even want to do this at 7 hours at the beginning or 6 hours. Like play with it, right? And experiment, because it's important for us to experiment with this, because there's no one answer for every single person out here. We're all different. We all have different sleep requirements. So play with this for a week. So pick, say, 8 hours for a whole week. Go to bed at the same time. Wake up at the same time. That's going to be tricky to go to bed at the same time when we're not getting sleepy yet. But once you've picked that sleep window, then when it's time to get out of bed in the morning, make sure to get out of bed. Don't stay in bed. If you say, I didn't sleep last night, so I'm just going to catch another hour to 2 hours sleep, a one-off time of doing that is one thing. But if this becomes the norm, then you're not starting your biology to reset itself in order to start building the sleep drive you need. And I always do this motion because, like, I get out of bed in the morning, and during the day I'm building all the sleep drive so that at nighttime I can go to bed, fall asleep, do my sleep, and then it's the same kind of every day. So the more consistent we can be in our bedtime and our wake up time, and just doing this thing, just adding consistency to your sleep routine, not staying in bed longer than 6, 7.5 hours, depending on how you're going to choose to personalize your sleep. And maybe at first you want to do 6 hours so that your body gets used to that. And then you want to stretch it to 7.5, or do it backwards, do 7.5. And then if you're still not getting enough sleep or falling asleep quickly, then move it down to like less hours. But when you're going to experiment, do for at least a week. And then on top of this, this is just the behavior component. There will be mindset issue you will have to work with, and there'll be emotional well-being issues you'll have to work with. That comes with setting a consistent routine. Like, I can't do that because my kids will need me, or because my husband wants me to stay awake with him later, or we have all these excuses. I call them excuses that says we can't do that for ourselves. However, I know once you put yourself first, once you put your sleep first, you start prioritizing your sleep, which is another principle of good sleep help by Colin Epsey. You know, you've got to value your sleep. You've got to personalize your sleep. You've got to prioritize your sleep. You've got to protect your sleep. And then you've got to trust your sleep. We can't build trust with our sleep if we're not actually doing things to help it build that trust. And one of them is by not spending too much time in bed. To actually pick that sleep window and stick with it no matter what. And no, at first it's not going to be easy. No, doing this for 2-3 days will not fix all your sleep issues. It might, but chances are it won't. It's the consistency over time that will then teach your body that this is sleep time, and don't restrict to less than what your body needs. 6 hours, 7.5 hours. Don't go to 9 right away. Sometimes I sleep 9, but I wouldn't go to 9 right away until we can get a solid. And so a solid, like, sleep in a row. And I will tell you, just from people doing this work and looking at all 3 components to better sleep, I've had one person say to me that they actually slept a whole night without waking up, like full 8 hours, 7.5 to 8 hours, which is something this person had not even done prior to joining the Better Sleep community. Even when this person claimed to be a good sleeper prior, is sleeping better now, even though we're still working. You know, there's always work to be done to become an even better sleeper consistently. But this person had better sleep by being consistent and working on her emotional well-being and mindset than she did even prior to her lack of sleep. So exciting. I know this stuff works. This is why I know it works. As always, if you want help to get your sleep back under control, you can join the Better Sleep community. It can be joined at any time. It is a 12-week program. And during these 12 weeks, we have a specific curriculum that we follow. There's also a private Facebook page that you can come and join us, where I do some extra videos in there, answer some extra questions. We meet twice a week on Zoom, and on Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. Atlantic, which is my time, we meet on Zoom and we do a training call. And then on the Thursday, we practice what the tools that we've learned in the Better Sleep community, and we answer any questions you might have. And so we're starting week 2 or 3. You can come in at any time, because what happens when you purchase the Better Sleep community is it's a one-time cost, and you get to repeat it as many times as you need. Because once you hear the information once, we're starting to build the education, the awareness, and then as we go along, then when you come back, you hear it and you're like, oh, I'm a different person now. I'm sleeping maybe 50% better. So what else can I learn to increase my sleep even more? So anybody who is interested, you can join at any time. I've had people join halfway through last program, and then because they get to repeat again, they just start where they are. We get together. I make sure that you understand what you need to do. You join the calls. So it can be at any time. So if you're interested, send me an email at support@sleepsuccessacademy.com. And I look forward to helping you on your journey to better sleep.